have to think about it. Do you hear that with clients after you've made your presentation? No answer, we have to think about it. Hello, my name is Greg Story. I'm the president of Dale Carnegie Training here in Japan. We're coming to you from the High Performance Center here in Akasaka in Tokyo. Well, we make the presentation, we understand the client's needs, we start looking for a decision, and they say, we need to think about it. Now, what I find interesting is when I look at what American sales trainers do and what happens in a lot of situations in the West is the salespeople will try and really push hard on that. Well, what do you have to think about? Is there anything else we haven't covered sufficiently? Obviously, if something's not clear, I maybe need to go back and explain that a bit more carefully. What would that be? Oh, when will you need to think about a buy? Let's get the calendar out and we'll get a firm decision by this date. And it's a very, very strong push to the buyer. Now, in Japan, that isn't going to work. When they say we have to think about it, what do you say? Do you say, okay, yeah, right, please let me know when you've had time. Great, thank you, and you leave, and you've got nothing? Or do you actually understand why they have to think about it? Now, there are different occasions, right, different cases. If it's a one-man shacho type, sort of dictatorial owner boss who makes all the decisions, they can make the decision on the spot. But normally, most of the people we meet are not like that. They're normally salaried employees, they're highly risk averse, they're working in a group that needs consensus decision making. So I term it, when we hear that, we have to think about it, we need to sell beyond the wall. Because in that meeting room where we are, on the other side of the wall are a whole bunch of people who are going to put their hanko, their seal, on a piece of paper, unbelievably, still a piece of paper, put their seal on the piece of paper, and it's going to move desk to desk around some key decision makers, and we're going to get a consensus, and then we're going to make a decision, go ahead. That's how it is in Japan, unless it's a owner, shacho, owner, president, who can make a decision on the spot. So normally, most people we're dealing with, they've got to go through that process. So there's a whole bunch of decision makers behind the wall. So the person who's sitting in front of us, really, they can't make the decision. So no matter how much you want to push them or, hedge them in or try and wedge them into making a decision, it's not going to happen. They don't have the power. And, Japan shouldn't be like that. These people should be able to make a decision. This isn't fair. Oh, really? Too bad. Japan is not changing because you don't like it. This is how it is. We have to like it. So what can we do about that? Well, presumably we've done a pretty good job of now questioning to understand the trends of the industry, particular circumstances of their company, issues that they want to solve. We've found out if there's a match with what we can do in terms of solution provision to help them with that. All good. We know, okay, we've got the solution. This is the best one for them. Now what we've got to do is make that happen. They, after the meeting, will then need to report to others about this potential opportunity to have you supply a solution. Now, the ones behind the wall are not in that meeting room. They're going to get a very truncated version of that conversation when your, I'll call them champion, they'll be probably a weak champion in most cases, but your champion for you behind the wall has to go to bat, and they have to really explain what you've explained to them, to these decision makers. And they do a pretty damn poor job most of the time, right? Because it's very abbreviated. A little headline going up there, not too much depth. So while we've got them in the room, they say, we'll have to think about it. Don't argue the point. Oh, you don't have to think about it. You can make a decision now. Oh, let's make it tomorrow. Don't bother going there. Say, okay, I understand that, thank you. And I know, there's lots of stamps, seals have to go on the decision-making piece of paper in the end. But think about all the people who are going to be involved. And considering what I've talked about so far, is there anyone you can think of in that group, excuse me, who have a particular concern? And then shut up. Don't keep talking. Ask that question and shut up. Let them digest that. Because what they'll be seeing in their mind's eye are a series of faces. And they'll be thinking about the people. let them think. Give them time. And then they might think, oh, well, yeah, there's so-and-so. Okay, don't answer that yet. Leave it, park it. Say, okay, thank you. Apart from so-and-so, does this decision really have a major impact on anybody else within the group? Oh, yeah, there's also so-and-so. How about, apart from these two, these sound like probably the two key people. Would there be a third person? Oh, there's basically these two, or there's one more. And then you've probably got the three key people then. It's enough. Don't keep going with it. Oh, I want the sixth person, the seventh person. It sounds like manipulation. People don't like that. That's stupid, actually. But you get the top two or three key people behind the wall, in addition to the person you're talking to, and then you know what you're dealing with. So now you've fleshed out where are the problems going to lie. And then we ask, well, of those 3, 2 people, whatever it is I've discussed with you, who do you think is probably going to be the person having the greatest problem with taking this solution on board? And again, shut up. Don't speak. Even if it takes a while for the answer to come out. Japan is very happy with silence. We all know that. They can sit there forever in silence. They're not uncomfortable. You might be uncomfortable. Get over it. Wait till they answer you. And then you find out what that concern is. And you say, well, okay, and the second person you mentioned, would they have the similar concern or would it be a different concern? Now we start to work out if there's more than one issue. And if there's a third person, well, you know, person A, person B had these concerns. Well, I guess person C would be the same, or would they have another concern? Now we've got the concerns. This is when you need to educate your champion on how to explain your solution and how your solution is the best way for fixing their problem. And you've got to give them the bullets to fire in that meeting. And you don't have much time to do that with that person because you've got them in a meeting, you've made your presentation, they've said we're going to think about it, they're expecting you to walk out that door and go to the next meeting. So you've got to make sure your timing in the meeting allows you sufficient minutes to actually have this part of the conversation. And give them stories. Don't give them data points, they won't remember it. Tell them stories about how the outcome has impacted other companies. Tell them stories about how great people are going to feel as a result. Take it to the storytelling level because stories are easy to remember. Facts will come out of the stories, but stories are easy to remember, and that's what you present to them. And at the same time, you pull out your diary and you say, Mr. or Miss Client, I know you're extremely busy, and getting into your schedule I'm sure is going to be very, very difficult. Let's get into your schedule now. How long do you think it'll take for the group to make a decision? Would 2 weeks do? Would that be sufficient time? Tons of time, 2 weeks, right? Would 2 weeks be sufficient? Don't say 2 days, 3 days. It won't be enough time. Give them a little bit of time. 2 weeks is fair. 2 weeks is fair. Don't give them more than that. Only offer 2. And then get it into your diary. Okay, in 2 weeks' time on this date, I'm good in the afternoon. How about you? Make the appointment right there and then. Right? Because now there's a timeline, not a pressure timeline, a sufficient timeline for them to go and coalesce with all the different opinions around this particular offer that you're making inside the company and get some consensus and then be able to come back and tell you yes or no. Right? If it's the president of the company, the owner of the company, probably they'll give you a decision on the spot unless they need to check some details. Same thing, particular details, is there anything I can help you with, something internally, then get out the diary, much shorter time frame, maybe 3-4 days later. Okay, I know you're very busy, you're extremely busy, President. Today's Monday, for example. Friday morning, I have some time. How about yourself? Are you open Friday morning? And then make the appointment right there and lock that down because they will be much faster in their decision making usually. So when they say we have to think about it, they actually do. Don't get in an arm wrestle about no you don't. Now, it may be also that's a put-off. The answer might be no, but they don't want to tell you directly at that point in time. This is Japan, very polite society, people very indirect. Same process. You go through the same process. And if you find out there actually aren't any other key decision makers, then try and get that answer back fairly quickly. A no is better than a maybe. A maybe, it's like my golf shot. Like when I tee off, I always keep dreaming I'm going to hit it like Greg Norman and go straight down the fairway. I keep hitting it like Greg Story and it goes off to the right, slice it. But I'll get one shot and I'll think, well, I can be like Greg Norman and spend the rest of my game being like Greg Story. We think, oh, there's hope, there's still some maybe chance in there, it's going to be a deal. If it's a no, it's a no. Better to get the no early and then go and find someone that's certain, they're going to actually do the deal. So don't be stuck with maybes, get some clarity. A no is better than a maybe. Try and get to a clear point of delineation. See, all this stuff is knowable, all this stuff is knowable. And it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. If you think about the structure of the sales cycle, if you know the sections of the sales cycle, if you've got some experience around how to deal with these sort of situations, then you'll flow through this stuff very, very smoothly. The problem is most salespeople don't have the knowledge because they're poorly invested in by their companies and not trained properly. And everything's sort of work it out by yourself, it's pretty hard. You've got to work it out yourself and trial and error, and that's a hard way to do it. Wouldn't it be much better if there was a bit of a roadmap there for you, a bit of a shortcut there for you, a lot of those things already delineated, already looked at, you just go and check it out. Hey, there is. Listen to my podcasts on iTunes called The Sales Japan Series. The Sales Japan Series on iTunes. Just go on iTunes and do the search, The Sales Japan Series. Today, the 118th episode came out, 118 episodes there for you. A lot of different angles on the sale, a lot of different angles. You may find that very helpful. And this is about sales in Japan, because a lot of stuff I read and I listen to podcasts from particularly America, mainly America, doesn't apply in a lot of cases here. It just doesn't apply. And that's actually why I wrote my book too. Did I mention I've got a best-selling book? Let me mention it now. Japan Sales Mastery was written. I published that last April, almost a year ago, because the stuff that I was educated on, the stuff that I was reading, didn't really fit into the Japan frame. And I thought, I'm suffering here. This is hard. Why don't I take the things that I've learned over these last 30 years and put that into a book for people who are selling to Japanese buyers and who have been suffering like I've been suffering, and maybe that'll be a bit of a service to everyone, which I did. And bestseller on Amazon, didn't expect that, that's great. But it shows, it shows there's an appetite for that sort of thing. It's knowledge. So if you prefer to listen, try the podcast, The Japan Series on iTunes. If you prefer to read, go to Amazon, order my book. If you prefer to watch videos, we have a fantastic channel. It's 769 videos now, 769 I think, or very close to 770, so let's say 769, on our YouTube channel, Japan Dale Carnegie TV. Find Japan Dale Carnegie TV and you'll see lots and lots of videos there with lots of instruction, all free, all very easy for you to do. Or you might want to really get serious and really dive in and say, well, it's time to invest. In my professionalism in the sales business, it's something that I'm going to be in this business. I really need to invest. Every professional invests in their education, ongoing education as well. Maybe you haven't done much for a long time. Maybe you've just been cruising along with what you learned a long time ago. Or maybe you never got taught anything. You just had to work it out yourself. We should stop doing that. We should actually get educated. Go to our website, enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. enjapan.dalecarnegie.com, and have a look at all the stuff we've got on there to help you, all the resources there to help you to become better, and particularly we have courses. We have a one-day sales program that deals with building trust, how to ask the right questions, and how to properly present the solution. That's a one-day version. We take it a bit further on the two-day version where we do the trust, ask questions, how to present the solution. We add how to deal with pushback. Your price is too high. We've got to think about it, right? All that sort of stuff. And also how to then close out the deal. And then we have a 3-day program which looks at the prep you need to do, that whole sales cycle, build the trust, ask the questions, present the solution, deal with objections, and ask for the order, and then the follow-up part. So it's a more complete 3-day version. And we have another program on presenting skills for salespeople, because often salespeople are not very well trained as presenters. Right? In fact, no one has probably ever trained a lot of salespeople how to present one-on-one to the buyer, how to use the materials, how to use your pen, how to use your eye contact, how to use your body language, all that sort of stuff. Probably never been trained on that. Well, this is a great course for that. Or you might be doing a big presentation to a buying group. Could be quite a large group, very senior people. And you've got to get up on your feet and present. Often salespeople are not trained to do that either. So the courses do all that for you. So Sales Advantage is the 3-day program. Sales Power is a 2-day program. Sales Booster is the 1-day program. And Presentation Skills for Salespeople is the one I was talking about now. So there's a lot of stuff there for you, isn't there? And, we've been doing this since 1939, and constant Kaizen. And Kaizen, not just in one country, Kaizen around the world. We're teaching in over 100 countries in 30 plus languages. So you're getting the best practice across the world. We teach 90% of the Fortune 500 companies. They are the biggest, most powerful companies in America and around the world. And they only choose the best when it comes to training. They choose us. So we've got the track record. We've constantly developing what we're doing. It's always cutting edge. Why don't you access that? Have a look at the materials that I've talked about, whether you'd like to listen to it, read it, watch it, or experience it. We've got the answers for you. So let's see if we can get you to, when you hear, we have to think about it, be very cool, very calm, very comfortable, and just beautifully handle that next step, because that is what differentiates the professionals from the people who want to be professional. And I'm here to help you to become professional. So let's look at that. Good luck.